Isle of Wight lies off the south coast of England. Shaped like a diamond, it is certainly a tiny jewel of a county. Less than 100 miles from London, the island is a popular holiday destination, and modern transport links enable visitors to travel easily to it, crossing the Solent by catamaran, hovercraft, hydrofoil or car ferry, or by plane to Bembridge Airport. Although the island is separated from Hampshire by the Solent, it is not in the least remote, but the 4-mile stretch of water has allowed the island's natural scenic beauty and its historic charm to be preserved, like a pretty miniature under a domed Victorian glass. In these waters, it is easy to imagine seeing the great galleons of the past setting out on a fair wind. In the 1800s, an open-deck wooden paddle steamer would have brought you across to Ryde, the gateway to the island. But now, take a ticket to Ryde and it's only a few minutes from Portsmouth by Whitelink catamaran. During the summer months, the island's population increases dramatically with visitors. But all year round, the climate here is mild, and the resorts hold some of the highest sunshine records in the British Isles. Ryde Pier stretches out over the sands for half a mile. It was completed in 1824 and is one of the oldest in Britain, and the second longest. Network South East trains, ex-rolling stock from London's Underground, travel down the pier to meet every sailing. The rail service runs through Ryde to the old town of Brading, and on to the seaside resorts of Sandown and Shanklin, and in summer connects with the island's steam railway at Smallbrook. Hover travel service across the Solent started in 1965, and the hovercrafts ply across from the foreshore at Southsea, arriving directly onto Ryde seafront beside the Esplanade's bus and train stations. Alongside the Ryde Hover Terminal, land has been reclaimed from the sea to build the Ryde Arena, and at the same time creating a small harbour and plenty of convenient car parking. The kids will love the arena. It's a wonderful place to have fun, with all the excitement of icy thrills and spills. If going round on skates makes you dizzy, cross the road to the amusement arcade, or have a meal at the Castle Hotel, one of the many excellent hotel restaurants on the island. Southern Vectis buses criss-cross the island, which is only 23 miles east to west and 13 miles north to south, a total area of just 155 square miles. The Esplanade at Ryde is dedicated to day trippers, but walk up into the main part of the town and there are tall Victorian church spires and beautiful Regency terraces. Long before Bournemouth developed, Ryde was a chosen resort of the elite. The young Princess Victoria stayed here at the Royal Squadron Hotel in Union Street with her mother, and as Queen, she returned here again years later with Prince Albert while Osborne was being made ready. Nearby, with its impressive royal coat of arms, is the grand old shopping arcade named after her. The stately town hall has been converted into a modern theatre. And in St Thomas's churchyard is a memorial stone to the convicts and pioneers who set sail from the Mother Bank in the Solent aboard the ships of the First Fleet for the new colonies in Australia. Near the lake is Thatcher's End Restaurant. The outdoor swimming pool on the promenade looks very inviting, and there is a delightful children's paddling pool nearby. 6 miles of safe sandy beach provides plenty of scope for the kids, while Mum and Dad can relax in the sunshine. A little Dotto train runs along the front in the season, past the bowling green and the restored Pavilion Theatre, to Appley Sands and the beautiful boating lake. Just a bus ride away in any direction, there are pretty little villages to discover down every country lane. Calbourne's Winkle Street is particularly attractive, a real picture postcard. Fancy having a cup of tea at the post office? In peaceful Little Newchurch you can. If you prefer stronger refreshment, cross the road to the Pointer Inn. The village is named after its church, which once served the whole parish of Ryde and Ventnor. In the chantry, masses were said for the soul of Hugh de Morville, one of the 4 knights who murdered Thomas à Becket in Canterbury. This is God's Hill. While you're here, visit all the interesting exhibitions. The old Smithy's Garden, the Natural History Museum, the Nostalgia Toy Museum. And take home a taste of the countryside from the cider barn. Have a tasty ploughman's lunch and walk through the herb garden or browse in the many gift shops. Above on the brow of the hill is the 14th century Church of All Saints. Although this wasn't the planned site, legend has it that the foundation stones were moved up to the present position on 3 successive nights. God apparently wanted the church on the little hill, and so God's Hill. Stop for a delicious green tea at one of the excellent tea rooms. Taste the strawberries, which are grown locally in the Arraton Valley. Walk through God's Hill in miniature, 1/10 scale, in the model village, in the beautiful gardens of the old vicarage. Even the tiny flowers are specially chosen to fit the proportions. At the top of the lane, beside the Batswing Cottage tea rooms, on God's Hill, is the church, surrounded by the thatched cottages. Because the island enjoys such a mild climate, subtropical trees and plants flourish in the open at the Botanic Gardens at Ventnor. There are rare and colourful plants from many parts of the world in the 22 acres of garden. The temperate house contains a wide variety of exotic plants. Whether your own garden is large or small, and you know a great deal or very little about flowers, the Botanic Gardens will delight you. Even the experts come here. Near the village of Chale is Blackgang Chine Theme Park. Great sailing ships were often wrecked and many lives were lost in the dangerous seas below the crumbling cliffs. And these treacherous days of smuggling provide an exciting theme. Nowadays, losing your way in the maze is the worst that can happen to you. But watch out for that dinosaur. Children revel in the fantasy world that has been created here. Climbing a life-size replica of Tyrannosaurus Rex can be enormous fun. And is this one of Fred Flintstone's cousins? It's a great day out for all the family. There's everything here. The Wild West, cowboys and Indians, the smuggler's haunts, a crooked house, the animal kingdom, a modern simulated spaceflight, and much, much more. For the very young at heart, there's Nurseryland, with all the children's favourites. And elves to peep at, a fairy castle and a gnome's garden. On summer evenings, the whole theme park is floodlit. The second half of this wonderful day out, St Catherine's Quay, has exhibits of the area's maritime past. And Blackgang Sawmill, featuring timber, is set around a Victorian water-powered mill. The western end of the island is unspoilt and remote, and the coastline is quite beautiful. The beach at Freshwater Bay, facing the English Channel, is sheltered by the white chalk cliffs and is a glorious sun trap. High on the headland above is Fort Redoubt, one of Lord Palmerston's Napoleonic defences. Enjoy afternoon tea here overlooking spectacular views, or lunch right on the esplanade at the Albion Hotel. There are miles of well signposted public footpaths across land held by the National Trust. This is Tennyson Down, and below it is Farringford House, where Alfred Lord Tennyson lived, and where he wrote the Idylls of the King. Calbourne Mill, one of several water mills on the island, was originally served by the Calbourne stream. The wheel still grinds the flour for their bakehouse and cafe. The gardens and the Rural Museum are open to visitors. Hot summer days should be spent by the seaside. This is the beach at Shanklin, looking west towards Dunno's Point. The golden sands are perfect for bathing and water sports. wrote the poet Keats to his friend Reynolds, is a most beautiful place. He was right. Above the beach, and you can take the lift up if you wish, is the old village where pretty thatched cottages are the classic English scene. The entrance to the chine is here, and sloping wood and meadow ground reach down to a gap between the cliffs and the waterfall. And then, as it widens, wrote Keats, primroses spread to the very verge of the sea. Newport is the island's capital. While the major stores are represented here, there are also attractive shopping lanes. The clock tower commemorating Queen Victoria's Jubilee was a late addition to the Guildhall, which was designed by Nash. At the lower end of the town is the River Medina and the Arts Centre. The old river warehouses have been delightfully converted, and the floating restaurant, the Pirate Ship, is moored here, reminders of Newport's original significance as a port. The island is a perfect place to try your hand at sailing and water sports. Now here's a lovely way to take a break, exploring the quiet country lanes at a gentle pace. Shalfleet, on the road between Newport and Yarmouth, is mentioned in the Domesday Book. Its pattern is that of an old feudal village, and it has all the charm of the English country way of life. Yarmouth's stylish quay seems almost continental, and the town was once the most important on the island. The George Hotel was once the governor's house. The castle was built against invasion by the French in the reign of Henry VIII, and the original gateway has his royal coat of arms above it. The White Link car ferry connects to and from Lymington on the mainland, and the harbour here in Yarmouth provides a sheltered mooring for yachtsmen. On past Colwell and Totland, at the western tip of the Isle of Wight, lies one of the most famous sites on the British coastline, the Needles, 3 jagged rocks rising out of the sea and marking the end of the ridge of chalk that stretches back across the island. Take the chairlift down onto the beach for a closer look at the 20 distinct shades of coloured sands in the cliffs of Allen Bay. It was here, too, that Marconi first made wireless contact with boats out in the bay, and established the first wireless station in the world in 1897. The pleasure park includes crafts, restaurants, a fun park, crazy golf, fast food kiosks and picnic areas, and an opportunity to fill an ornamental glass shape with the sand colours of your choice. And gift shops for that special souvenir of your visit to this famous landmark on this most beautiful part of the island's heritage coastline. In the Middle Ages, Newtown, originally called Francheville, was a thriving port and the island's most ancient borough. The river was much deeper and could accommodate great sailing ships. It was famous for its oyster beds and salt works. But when the French raided the port and burned it in 1377, the town fell into dramatic decline, leaving only the little Georgian town hall standing by itself in the fields. Seaview, near Ryde, overlooks the Solent, and the firm sands stretch out for half a mile when the tide is out. There is an attractive sea wall, and the rope walk, where once new rope was stretched out by a spinning machine before being used. There used to be a unique suspension pier here too, some 900 feet long, and ferries from Southsea called in the summer months. But sadly the pier was destroyed in a wild storm in 1951. The two natural bays, Seagrove and Priory, offer a perfect setting for a relaxing seaside holiday. Flamingo Park at Springvale near Seaview has a colony of breeding flamingos and hundreds of other birds, many so tame that they will feed from your hand. Aviaries, an illuminated aquarium, a willow walk by the lake. It's a lovely place to spend the day. On the southern side of the island at St. Lawrence are the Tropical Bird Park and the Rare Breeds and Waterfowl Park. Hey, wake up, you! Little Amazon at Newchurch recreates the atmosphere and environment of a tropical rainforest with colourful birds, reptiles and monkeys. Whitecliff Bay curls in towards Bembridge with its wide circular haven of Brading Harbour. The Maritime Museum in the centre of Bembridge village displays our nautical heritage, from the early days of sail right up to the present day. harbour is popular with local fishermen and yachtsmen, and it's a great place to learn the ropes.
Mayday! This is yacht sea spray, sea spray, sea spray. Mayday, yacht sea spray. Call sign Mike Alpha Bravo Charlie. In position.
The lifeboat station must always be on the alert for danger. Bembridge is an attractive village. Nearby, the 18th century windmill is the last one remaining on the island. Sandown is central to 2 miles of golden beaches and is a popular holiday resort. At the end of Sandown Pier, these young fishermen are hoping for a record catch. But of course, Dad's out to do better. Fishing's a serious business, even if it does mean having to relax in the sun all day. From Culver Cliff and the Yaverland to Dunno's Point, it's golden sand all the way. Like its twin resort of Shanklin, Sandown offers many different types of hospitality. Large seafront hotels, small friendly guest houses, and self-catering holidays of every kind. And the beach is the focal point with excellent bathing and water sports. The island has always attracted artists and writers, some like Tennyson and Dickens, to enjoy the tranquility. Lewis Carroll, the creator of Alice in Wonderland, preferred to watch children at play on this beach, and he wrote his nonsense verses, The Hunting of the Snark, while he spent the summer of 1875 at Sandown. For the evening, there's the Pavilion Theatre, with a variety of top-class entertainment, and plenty of restaurants and cafes in the high street and on the seafront. Everywhere there's fun for the whole family. Visit Sandown Zoo. Meet the big cats and the little ones, and enjoy the many leisure activities that Sandown has to offer. is an excellent way to get a bird's-eye view of the island. Pleasure flights take off from Sandown and Bembridge airports, and of course there are connecting flights to the mainland from Bembridge too. It is also the venue for the annual Schneider Trophy air race held in June in the skies over the Solent. Here, Prince Andrew gives one of the competitors a right royal send-off. Brickfield's horse country at Binstead is open all the year and is home to miniature Shetlands and mighty Shire horses. Ride in the carriage drawn by the gentle giants. And visit the stables, including the mini world where miniature horses and rare breeds live in a specially built Lilliput setting. As well as a first-class cafeteria and bar, there is an excellent shop with everything for horse and rider. And there is a heritage museum, a display of carriages, vintage tractors, and a blacksmith's forge. The horses parade for visitors, and show jumping and dressage events are held here. The centre also operates a riding stable. Experience the thrill of steam trains for yourself at the Isle of Wight Steam Railway at Haven Street. The station has a museum and a souvenir shop, and a refreshment room for that cup of tea and brief encounter. Before you journey through the meadows and woodlands along the line on your way to Wootton. The vintage trains have been lovingly restored and maintained, and now there is a summertime link with the British Rail service at Smallbrook Junction. In August, there's a weekend steam extravaganza. Paisley Manor in the Arraton Valley was once owned by King Harold, and it's one of the many lovely manor houses on the island open to the public. As well as viewing the house and the herb garden and the sweet-making factory, visitors are invited to watch the potters at work here in the largest pottery studio on the Isle of Wight. Arraton Manor once belonged to Alfred the Great, and later Henry VIII and Charles I. Some parts of it date back to the 14th century, though most of it is Jacobean. Discover the secret door and visit, among several exhibitions, the National Wireless Museum and the Lace and Fashion Collection. And in Arraton's church nearby is the island's brass rubbing centre. The 20 acres of garden at Barton Manor were once part of the Osborne estate, where the Prince Consort developed the farming and built the model farm buildings, which have now been restored. Nowadays, in the beautiful gardens, there is a vineyard, producing award-winning English wines. Queen Victoria loved Osborne. The best times of her life with Albert were spent on the Isle of Wight. Standing on the balcony of the sitting room with the husband she adored, gazing out towards the sea, it must indeed have seemed her little paradise. Everything was planned by Albert: the imposing building, the gardens, and the family came here twice a year, for a month in winter and for the summer holidays. Except to go to the church at Whippingham, the Queen had little need to leave the grounds. The house is grand, of course, a monument to the Victorian era. The great Durbar room, the billiard room, the royal nursery. Half a mile from the house, the Prince installed the Swiss chalet for the 9 royal children. In the kitchen, the girls cooked and played keeping house, and the boys dug the garden and grew vegetables. The fields around allowed them the chance to pick flowers, climb trees, and enjoy the long summer days. There is a toy fort designed by the 10-year-old Prince Arthur, who later became Field Marshal, the Duke of Connaught. The bathing machine the Queen used at the private beach is also on display. When Albert died of typhoid at Windsor, it was to Osborne the Queen came in her grief. From then on, the royal apartments in the house were maintained as if Albert was still alive. The Queen herself died on the Isle of Wight in 1901. The ancient castle at Carisbrooke stands proudly overlooking the village, which was once the capital of the island. A fortress has been here since Saxon times, and the moated castle is Norman. Charles I, imprisoned here before being taken to London for trial and execution, made 2 dramatic bids to escape. At the first attempt, he was unable to fit through the window. The second time, he was betrayed. Queen Victoria's youngest daughter, Beatrice, quite often lived at the castle during her term as governor of the island. Now, that part of the building has become the Isle of Wight Museum. The bowling green, made for the imprisoned king, is a wonderful period setting for pageants and performing arts. Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II installed Earl Mountbatten as governor of the island in a splendid ceremony here in 1965. Children will love the well house, where the castle donkeys, using the old wooden treadmill, draw water up 161 feet from the ancient well. If you climb the 71 steps to the castle keep, it is still possible to walk round the battlements, where once the ill-fated King Charles took his morning exercise. If you're looking for adventure, come to Robin Hill. The kids will just love the assault course. Try boating on the lake, a toboggan ride, enjoy a summer barbecue, and all sorts of excitement. See the huge variety of creatures here. Just look at him. And him. And just look at this. Monkeys will get up to all sorts of tricks. Quite delicious. I think I've found it. Nah, lost it.
Hey, wait for me.
I can't bear heights.
Just look at them monkeying around. I don't know where they get all that energy. Visitors can walk right through the animal enclosures, and some of the residents here really do seem to be enjoying life to the full in Robin Hill's 88 acres of downs and woodlands. Garlic seems an odd reason for a festival, but for the island it's a wonderful excuse for a summer celebration. The River Medina divides Cowes into two, and the harbour is world famous. There are good ferry connections with Southampton and Portsmouth, and the town is proud of its reputation as the world's yacht racing mecca. Cows Week in August is the high point of the island's social calendar. The streets are decked out with flags, and excitement mounts as the racing season approaches. Yachting enthusiasts, including members of the royal family, come to watch the start of the races and the colourful sails in the Solent. The Cowes Classic Powerboat Race, too, attracts over 1,000 powerboat entries. The yachting weeks end with the Cow's Ball and a spectacular display of fireworks. At the workshops of Isle of Wight glass, watch craftsmen creating unique glassware using gold and silver leaf. Although you can buy them direct from the workshop, these beautiful pieces are also exported worldwide. Under the towering St Boniface Down is Ventnor, the island's most southerly resort. The Victorian villas are clustered around the bay, giving the town quite a Mediterranean appearance. It was developed as a winter resort by the Victorians, and the bay is a sun trap. At the base of the Cascade Gardens, there's a model of the island set in a delightful paddling pool for the children, and the beach is superb for bathing and water sports. While you're in Ventnor, visit the Enchanted Cavern, a magical display for the children. From May to September, there are special events on the island's calendar. Regattas, races, processions, and carnivals in each town. For the islanders, it's a holiday too, an occasion to take part and enjoy the fun. The colour, the decorated floats, the brass bands. The landscaped indoor garden of Butterfly World is a photographer's paradise. Hundreds of exotic butterflies and several varieties of tiny birds in subtropical floral surroundings make a visit here a delightful experience. And walk through into Fountain World. See the Italian garden and the Japanese garden with its huge koi carp. And on your way out, visit the shop where you can buy all sorts of butterfly souvenirs, including some lovely butterfly jewellery. Wootton Creek winds gently down from the mill pond by the bridge to Fishbourne, where the Whitelink car ferry lands. The Romans called the island Vectis, and at the Roman villa at Brading there are a number of fine mosaic floors. Henry VIII was a visitor at Nanwell House, and Charles I spent his last night of freedom here. In the narrow Brading High Street is the Lilliput Dolls Museum, with a superb collection of dolls and toys, and a fascinating collector's shop. The church at Brading has a peal of 8 bells, the oldest dating from 1594. It once stood right by the quay before Brading Haven was reclaimed from the sea. Osborne Smith's Wax Museum is set in the oldest house on the island, which dates back to before 1066. Nearby is Morton Manor, where a thatched cottage tea room complements the Elizabethan sunken garden, terraces, ponds and parkland, and the vineyard here produces excellent wines. In Brading Town Hall are the old stocks and whipping post. At the top of the town, the bullring, where bulls were tied up to be teased, still exists. Now we cross over the beautiful Brading Downs and return to Ryde, where we started our journey. The island has so much to offer, so many things to see and do. Once you've been here, you'll want to return. This is one of Britain's prettiest islands. Come and enjoy all the history and the hospitality, the beaches and the countryside, the magnificent coastal scenery and the sunshine on this beautiful Isle of Wight.